I've seen so many changes over the years in terms of the technology. It's just unbelievable.
Yes, many breakthroughs every day, every day. I mean, there's always continuous research. I mean, all over the place. If you look, I'm looking through the news and I see little tips just breaking, looking at me, and saying, "Hey, what's that? That's cool." I mean, what did I see in the news recently? I saw that there's the OLED display. There's now a revolutionary stretchable OLED display that also bends and expands because before we have these foldable cell phones nowadays, right? That was because of research that was able to make screens that are now able to fold. But now they're telling me that the research has reached the aspect that we are able to now stretch these. And they're saying that this will help later on in, having screens that are on our clothes and other wearable technology. Because that is where technology is going to. I mean, you want to have your technology walking around with you. You want to be able to read your email while you're on the road, or you want to be able to somebody can talk with you while you're on the road. Internet always around you also, because you realize everything is wireless, so you no longer have to be plugged in anywhere. You want to be able to just tap your fingers and you say, "Oh, hey, I'm online now." Or able to, if you watch the sci-fi movies, you see them tap on a screen or tap on a wall and they say, "Okay, I'm here, view me." Right? And I think that is where the technology is trying to do. We're trying to make those things that we dreamed about come into fruition, right? Things that you're talking about earlier about, the lack of fire extinguishers and, the lack of water and, fire trucks, right? I've seen technology where you have, these balls that you throw into fires and they explode and they immediately out the fire.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know if the country is looking into, technology like those
Yes.
to bolster, I know we have our fire engines that go around, but techniques like this to be able to bolster our fire extinguishing techniques.
Were you able to check out more to find out exactly how it works?
Right. I mean, it would be a chemical.
Yes.
When it senses the heat, it just explodes, and I guess it gives out its fire extinguishing powder over it, right? So it's small balls you can keep on. It would be something nice that you carry in your car because,
I got nervous a while ago. I was just going to remind you that this is the morning radio. But I see you're talking technology. That's fine.
Right. So you throw it in the car, when it's burning and, immediately it gets rid. I've seen the videos. They look pretty awesome,
yes.
Right? Also, other things you can think of is like, those drones, those fire extinguishing drones. Right now in Kingston, you see all these tall buildings going up. And I know, from coming back, our fire engines, I don't see them reaching that high, So I'm thinking, so I'm thinking, we should invest in drones that can probably go up that. I see them carrying fire extinguishing chemicals up to very high heights and able to extinguish fires at those heights. So
what should happen though, is that these buildings should have their own internal systems.
Right.
So,
there's the whole automation of system, fire suppression systems. That technology is growing. You have intelligent buildings now. When you leave rooms, they turn off, lights turn off, air condition turns off, electricity turns off.
I wonder why we're not into that, because that would be one way of conserving electricity.
Definitely.
You go into a room, for example, the air conditioning systems. It would be great if the air conditioning, if nobody's in the room, it turns off.
It turns off automatically. And I believe anybody who is building nowadays should think about this infrastructure. And first of all, I don't see anybody should be building a building right now without even internet access, having it connected, making sure that, as I said, these fire suppression services, it should be connected to, your fire safety people like the fire brigade, because if it pick up a fire, it calls out, not waiting for somebody to alert the authorities. Hey, I see a fire over there, so what's going on? Or there's a fire down the road. I think your building should be integrated to be able to can call the authorities saying, okay, there's a fire here detected, go and check it out. Or somebody calls and say, is there a fire going on, shall we come? But all of these things are
I'll tell you what, we're going to take a a short break at this time. Welcome back. Yes, sorry for that break in transmission. And you're telling about the technology, and I'm sure you have far more to tell us. Yes, we're talking.
Yes, because I scan the news every day. I look for anything new that tips my eye. I realize there's a German company that is trying to have flying taxis in the air for 2024 Paris Olympic Games. So I realized that there's going to be Olympic Games. So there's a German company, they call themselves Volocopter, and they're saying that they want to have a flying taxi that could be transporting their customers to the Olympic Games in 2020 in Paris, France, when it comes. So those are some things that we can look forward to, because then there's another application of those you call it the flying copters, right? So and also things that we should note. Again, I remember Bill Gates came. Not Bill Gates. Yeah, Bill Gates came around. No, not Mr. Musk. Sir Musk came around. Sorry. Came around, and he was saying that definitely he was reiterating that we should put in steps to control the development of artificial intelligence. And you can see on the tails of that Biden also is reiterating that the risk posed by artificial intelligence to security and economy needs to be addressed. And so what he's saying is that he's putting in legislation to be able to protect his people from their rights, their privacy, and misinformation that make AI before it's released a little bit what you call it. So you see what is going on in the whole technology sphere, because all of these things are now coming to debate. Things that we saw was going to happen for a long time, because with artificial intelligence, you're having computers making decisions for you, and also people are using it in different ways and applying it to different applications. Right? You have to look at the dangers of all these emerging technology, and a lot of people are investing in OpenAI, ChatGPT, all of these things. And if people don't remember, we have artificial intelligence all around us. You have it in virtual assistants. You have your Google assistants, you have your Alexa, and these are what we call natural language processors. So they are able to discern from what you're saying some kind of meaning, and basically respond to you with voice commands and all of that. And also in like artificial intelligence, so many applications. You have it in recommendations. These are artificial intelligence artificial intelligence programming that will basically recognize and analyze data and your behavior, right? As you said, we're always being watched. So no longer, you don't need to be watched by eyes. You have artificial intelligence running in the background, watching everything that you do. It watches which websites that you go on. It watches the social media platforms that you go on.
And collect the data.
And collects that data and basically pushes. If you look at Netflix, remember they have suggestions to you, right? So it's based on what you watch. And, I'm a person, I like a lot of action movies. And
you know what just crossed my mind?
Mm-hmm.
You have a gentleman who decides he wants to run as president of the United States of America.
Yeah.
And
I think I know that.
Somebody could say, you know what, I'm going to pay millions of dollars to get some information about the kind of movies that he used to watch. And then he get the information. He used to watch strictly pornography of little children.
And that would be used against him, obviously. Right. So, yes, this kind of information would be gathered if you are using, your browser. It has these things built into it now, right? That, it basically watches what you're doing and is able. You have the autonomous vehicles, you have cars that are able to have sensors and vision, and it learns, and you can basically look on the road and it detects where the objects are and makes driving decisions. If there's an object in front of it, it will stop, to avoid accidents. And to the other limit, if you want to just point and click on the screen and say, hey, carry me to half a tree, you just jump in your car and don't go to sleep, and it carry you to half a tree. You didn't tell it we're in half a tree. It want you to drop it, but carry me to half a tree.
My guy to the police station.
Right? You have other applications of artificial intelligence. You have fraud detection. I mean, it basically, when you go and make your deposits, you have artificial intelligence that will go through this information that the bank has stored and say, hey, this person doesn't normally do this interaction. You see it in your apps. It spots and it's saying, hey, you don't normally spend this much. Is this a bad deposit? Is it a bad transaction? And based on your response, it's able to tailor it next time you make that decision. So you see it all over the place. In robotics, you have various industries in manufacturing, agriculture, and healthcare are doing, they use robotics to do tasks that are repetitive or dangerous and require precision. Right? That is another use of artificial intelligence, right? You have the x-rays in healthcare again. When you do your x-rays, I mean, normally you'd have your doctor going through it, but you can have artificial intelligence looking at it and making decisions based on what it sees.
And probably be more accurate than the doctor.
That's a debate. I leave that alone.
Because my understanding that this is keep on learning, they call it machine learning.
Right. So
so while the doctor might miss out one little tiny speck,
right,
I'm sure with that computer, with the kind of technology you have,
and we're talking about the good parts of technology. I mean, it's able to adapt itself to make, it does repetitive tasks quite well. I mean, you want to do something over and over. We have suffered from, doing metacarpal, the whole heap of typing. You can actually talk now to machines, and it does the typing for you. So those things.
If my little computer does it for me. I tell you what I did recently. It was quite interesting, and for those who are listening, it's something you can learn from too. I had to collect statistics from 1962 to 22
right,
on the police side. They didn't have the figures as such. I have to have a graph, so I had to make note of the figures. So I need to get it into Excel.
So where you got the figures?
On the website.
On the website.
But it's not in the figures.
It was just written up. It was in a graph.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I did, but when you move the mouse over it, you see the figures. So I wrote them down. And I said, oh my God, so I forgot to type it in Excel. I said, I forget I can just call the numbers. I just simply call the numbers. 125, 137, you can figure where I put in the comma.
Right.
Because to put them into cells.
Right.
So what I did, I put 5 figures on a row until it to a new line. So I have 54, 126, 578, 289, new line.
Right.
So I put 5 each. So whatever the comma is used now to convert that text to a table.
Right.
When I convert to a table, so I have 5 rows. I would have 5 columns. I convert to a table now. I simply use a table now and post it in Excel. Of course, when you put it in Excel, now it puts it into the various cells.
All right. And
what I do after that now, I just simply transpose this line. Transpose means if you take that line of data.
That's horizontal and put it in vertical.
In vertical.
Right.
And in no time I had from 1962 to 1922.
It's something easy. So normally this would be a very laboring task to do, to copy and paste and all of that. Even myself in writing letters sometimes, you want to have information that you've done things through the day. You can, have these notes just jotted down, and then you're able to, coin a letter quite easily and just cut and paste it.
And one thing for persons to know is that one easy way to put things into cells or into columns is to use comma, for example. And you use Word to convert it to a table, and then you use a comma now to separate it into rows.
Right. It's called comma separated values.
Exactly. You do that, and it's easy.
And it's ported into Excel quite easily.
Quite easily. I say this to say because many of us, we have the software, but we're not using it smartly at all.
Right, and it's to find all these ingenious ways of using the software to make our lives a little bit better. And as I said, it's all about monitoring how these technologies are used, because not only can they be used for good, they can be used for bad also. And that is why you see the authorities above are saying, hey, you all need to take a step and check. see what is going on. What are these platforms and AI are being applied to? Monitor them quite closely, not just here, but around the world, because people. This is just one world right now because we're all connected, right? Right, and we want to make sure that everything is being used for the betterment of humanity.
But guess what is happening? There are some persons, though, because they realize that the technology can be used for evil things. It's almost like a religion against it.
Right.
Well, I'll have you know that even water can kill you. You drink too much water,
right?
Eat problems. Or
Right. Too much of anything will kill you.
Too much of one thing, good for nothing.
Right.
So the technology is here. It doesn't make sense driving fear. And when you go on social media, see all these persons, especially the religious fanatics.
Right.
They're coming up with all sort of things as to what is going to happen. They used to say that years gone by, and the technology.
Right.
Even intelligent persons. I remember when I told these companies that after a while, VoIP would be the way to go.
Voice over IP, yes.
Right, voice over
IP.
They used to. I spoke to some top guys from those companies, and I'd call them. They argued with me, and they tell me how the country is going to lose because government is smart. They were collecting taxes on overseas call. I said, sorry.
Well, they will lose for a while. And then the companies will adapt to figure out how we're going to get some money from this.
And you remember they were blocking WhatsApp?
Right, I remember that very distinctly.
And I said to them, these are VPs in those companies. I said, you can't stop it. I said, just like when you had fax machines, and they tell that you have to get permission to put fax machines on the telephone lines. I said, we're coming to my bedroom and check where I put it.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yes. There was a
get
time,
a permission?
Yes, there was a time when you could not attach any equipment. It was in the book and in your contract. You can't touch any equipment.
I missed that one. I missed that one totally.
Have you just bonded?
Because and that is now gone. Because if you go into office now and ask for a fax, they ask, "Oh, what that?"
And by the way, that thing has gone through various phases. For example, it went to a phase where you could now send fax over the internet.
Right. That is true. I remember that.
It cost you nothing. I know that is now gone.
Right, because
scan. You said it. You can send it by WhatsApp or email. It's so easy.
And most people are using WhatsApp now for everyday business functions. Yes. I mean, you used to send your invoice via email,
right?
Even and everyone that take too long to write email.
Yeah.
Send it by WhatsApp. All right, you see it. All right, good. And that's how the technology. Everybody wants everything, and that has been pushing the technology. Everybody wants everything now. I mean, it's like no gratification. I can't wait for something to reach me for 10. And all of this is made possible by the fact that we have interconnectivity.
Right.
The internet is there. I mean, that's a next drawback now. Now, if the internet was to ever go down for some reason, we're going back to the dark ages.
We just couldn't function, that's all.
Right.
I came across a new feature. I think it's called Grab a Check or something like that. That's great. While you're working or writing things, it will correct what you're writing on the internet. Oh, that is really fantastic.
Okay. But going back to the aspect of, backup, if the internet was to ever go down, I mean, for my offices, normally I would have several internet service providers. If you're in an area that you can get several internet providers, and that is the strategy that you have to employ to make sure that your business continues, because there's a very high reliability for most companies nowadays on the internet, right? And if your internet goes down, for a lot of companies out there, it's like business stop. I can't get in touch.
Same thing with electricity. Well, I stand by. I work for some time when electricity.
But I'm not even talking about electricity. I'm talking about connectivity itself. I mean, things that can affect the internet connectivity, like even solar flares.
Solar flares, right?
Your
solar flares has to do with things happening with the sun.
With the sun,
right.
And it affects electromagnetically all of these communications, right?
And that's something my listeners can check out. Solar
right.
flares,
so I mean, what happens? Has the world even thought about backups to the internet?
Yes. But you know what I look at this? When these things happen, we will not die.
Well,
so no need to worry. I've always said to me,
life continues.
Life continues.
Yes.
But continue in a different way, but life continues.
Right,
I've always said to myself, what the hell if Microsoft Word, for example, there's a bug, or probably it's put in there. So that particular time, all the Microsoft suite of products should shut down. what would happen?
Well, I don't use Microsoft alone. That's for me.
Well, everybody uses that in Jamaica.
Yes, right. Most
So
persons do. But I mean, with knowledge, you know that there are other applications that you can use as an alternative. And, you know,
Well,
you have open,
we have
what we
to
said,
run out.
open source.
You have to tell us more about that because a number of persons don't know that. And when you use open source, can they open Microsoft Suite?
But of
products?
course, definitely.
You know, it's so much enough. We don't know that. So we're gonna go for the break. I want to thank you very much, Mr. Monteith. Thank you very much. Any final point you want to leave us with?
No, I'd say again, thank you for having me. And of course, you can always get in touch with me at my email, intisol@techprojects.com. That's INTESOL at TECHPROJEX.com. Or you can call me at 876-849-6167.
Right. And careful when you call him, you see, especially you ladies, you see, you never can tell the wife might pick up the phone. You see, no,
As long as it's business.
Well, that is business too. I just in the trouble so much today. Thank you very much,
No problem.
Andre Monteith, you IT professional. You have a wonderful day. And for those who are listening, we're going to try and get a recording of the program up today, up on my site. Take care, my friend. You have a wonderful day.
Thanks again.
All right. Of course, you're listening to Rhythm FM, coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica.